George, I was also listening on another podcast of yours that you came up with this idea around reliability governance teams.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, I remember that one. Where did that come from? How did governance change the perception of the reliability team?
Yeah, so I'm a very visual person and I really like these Parthenons that you see out there. And so I promise the governance has nothing to do with politics or anything like that. But it's really like that overarching. So if we were to say, hey, these are like our five pillars, call it whatever you want: reliability engineering, autonomous maintenance, work management, whatever. But you need to have some type of overarching process, and I would say even change management around how those things are being managed. And anytime that you're going to make any committee, whether you want to call it a steering governance team or whatever, that is reviewing and then basically pushing that out to the masses, because in most times these processes are being implemented to many different sites within an organization. And I know, as much as sometimes people don't like the word standardization, I mean, we have a business to run and we have to make sure that we have some consistency, not only from a metric standpoint, but then also like how we do processes. So if I need to move from one location to, in California to Minnesota, that I can effectively, not have to like restart from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole concept around governance was really around like, how do we assess like how we currently manage our operations? How do we measure and then utilize the same type of metrics and KPIs? And then what are the tools, how we're going to align to the processes that we've really established? So it's really more like a change management type of viewpoint and really driving that consistency. So that's why one of the things I always try to promote is just this whole concept of governance. You can call it whatever you want, but that's what I call it.
And where did these standards come from? Were they developed by you? Were they developed by the team? Were they developed by the decades of years of experience that just kind of got handed down? How did those standards get created?
A lot of times it might be programs and processes that already exist, within the organization. It's just kind of bringing it under like that umbrella and just saying like, hey, this is now like the upkeep governance standard, or this is the way how we are going to manage things, at this organization. And if somebody has an idea, we should have a feedback process, how we can take that feedback and review within that team. And then if we need to have like a training event to communicate what those updates are, then we're going to do that. But I would say a lot of times, it's really kind of bringing some of the existing work together, because I mean, trust me, like whether you're a brand new company like the one that I'm a part of, or a company that's been around like the one I was a part of that was 150 plus years old, there's been a lot of great work that's gotten us to where we're at. It's just really bringing those things together and then just doing some continuous improvement on it, really.
I mean, I love this so much, George, because what I'm hearing from you is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure all this out. A lot of the heavy lifting has already been done, it sounds like. And the part that many people skip is the documentation and knowledge transfer portion of it, which is arguably the most important piece versus just figuring it out for the first time, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And, and there are going to be times where you're going to have to develop some of these things from scratch because it's something that maybe the company or the organization hasn't really even scratched the surface on it. And so that's where, like where we come in, where, maybe we've been a part of some really mature organizations, or, we go to these conferences and we learn some new things on how to operate and run the business better. And sometimes, we'll even contract out and say like, hey, we need to bring in companies like, XYZ to help us kind of build out our asset management program.